Hello everybody and welcome indeed if you are joining us for the first time today. Where on earth have you been? Because we've already had one race for the Ligier European Series and some qualifying for the Michelin Le Mans Cup cars for GT3 and the two LMP3 categories there. And what we're actually now seeing is a number of teams that have established themselves in the Ligier European Series, then moving to the next rung of the ladder. But this is the entry-level category, and it is fit to bursting with quality and also numbers throughout the order. 14 JS P4s and 11 JS2 Rs that were all qualifying yesterday across two short, sharp sessions. And I'll give you the grid for this race in just a tick, but if you weren't around earlier on, let me tell you that it was Trajectors Motorsport that took the first win of the season, with Vincent Boutellier starting the race, and that man at the top of our graphic there, Thomas Pompidou, plugged in for the second stint. Well, the way that the regulations are written, the finishing driver in race one then must start race two. So Thomas Pompidou was certainly somebody to be stopped, and nobody could do in qualifying yesterday to put him top of the pile. Sebastian Kouteng for Team Virage will start second, ahead of Sacha van der Pad Bosch of the Netherlands and ASM Motorsport. Then Simon Schrantz for Team Virage, Ethan Faramond for ANS Motorsport, Andre Junior and Scott Marsh both for Petrogold, 93 ahead of 33. The pole position time in JS2R was set again by young Danish racer Marcus Terkelsen in the number 23 Events Racing 88, ahead of Daniel Dalekian in the VSF colours, the green and white, ahead of Trajectors Motorsports Charles Lambert, Anthony Gibodo, who put in on a real good fight with Terkelsen in the earlier race, Jack Tabery and Noah Rosser for Trajectors and LR Motorsports. Jordan Meyer will start the Pegasus Racing car number 29, ahead of Jose Moreiros for Veloso and Nathan Huey, who had a spin in the M Racing car. Completing the grid, Alan Meyer and Simone Bianco, who could do a bit actually from the back of the grid, because Bianco was much further up in the starting grid for race one in the number 81 LR Motorsport car. Graham Goodwin, the editor-in-chief of dailysportscar.com, kind of two standout drives, certainly from Marcus Terkelsen earlier on today, who tried to romp away a few times. We had a number of safety cars in his opening stint. Then he has to take a longer pit stop because he drives on his own versus cars that have two drivers. Found himself in fourth, and it was almost bottled up in fourth. We thought he was going to end there, but then a terrific drive to actually win the race in JS2R. It was a standout performance from the young Dane, and did make slightly heavy weather of getting by one of the VSF cars. Once he'd done that, repeated that same move twice again, and he had to catch and pass the cars ahead. Did so in remarkably short order and turned what I think at one point we both called a fourth place finish looking likely into a race win. That shows a bit of depth, doesn't it? It's going to be interesting to see just exactly what he can do here. Is that a problem for the 69 car? I think it is. That car, yes it is, slowing down and stopping now. So who's aboard the 69? That is Breton Racing. It's Dan Kostapola.
Oh yeah.
The car just restarting, so maybe a bit of a control alt delete or whatever that is in check. Away he goes.
The problem is that the course car had already passed him, and I'm not sure whether now he's going to be allowed to retake his position. Normally the rule is if every car passes you, you kind of have to start from the back of the grid.
I think he may well have to.
And that will be well out of category, of course, as well. He's going to try and loop around said course car. Now it remains to be seen. I honestly don't know the strict regulation, if there is a strict regulation in the bulletin to tell you whether you can do that or not. But the problem becomes, with everybody weaving, they're not necessarily expecting a car that starts to then overtake, because ordinarily that's not permitted.
He absolutely has. You can see in the background, gone by some of the JS2Rs, I think. The graphic is showing he's not caught the group. Maybe there's another JS P4 back in the order. There might well be. Here they come, under the bridge. You can see in the background, that car is making its way through the order.
Okay. Well, it had already passed that primer grey BMW
So that may have to be investigated. We will wait and see. But they are now starting to form up in the 2x2 formation. So the weaving has to stop, and they'll be side by side from effectively the start of Sector 3, which is just before the turning point at turn 10.
Yeah, he's there in amongst the JS P4s now. 60-minute race to go, of course. Going down towards turn 14, after which the BMW leading car will peel off. We're about to go racing, Johnny.
So this grid decided on qualifying 2 times, done by, for the main part, entirely different drivers. Thomas Pompidou versus Sebastian Kaupeng, who had a good dice towards the end of the earlier race today. So for the second time, all part of Heat 1 here at Barcelona, the Ligier European Series is about to spring into life. And the 1 hour starts to tick down now. They're all going to have to stop somewhere between 27 minutes and 34 minutes for the main part of driver change, or take an extra 5 seconds and keep that driver, the solo drivers, in, as now around the outside attempted to go the yellow and orange car for Team Virage of Sebastian Kaupeng. There wasn't quite the space there though. One to the escape road might well be 57, Sydney Goudet in her M Racing car, and it's side by side between the number 3 JS2 R of Noah Rosset and 35 Jose Moreros for Veloso Motorsport. Good to see quite a number of Spanish either teams or drivers in this, and also the new Veloso Motorsport, who are from Portugal. So another fellow Iberian outfit down the inside, a hard charging overtake in the early stages from Simone Riccitelli, who has got some recovery work to do here. Riccitelli well out of position, and he needs not to waste too much time in trying to gather some of those places back again.
Well, he's pushing hard here, isn't he? Real tussles in the mid to lower order JS P4 here. Oh, positional changes coming. Once again, the 50 car just dropping back in the hands of Jeremy Loisel in amongst the JS2R leading order. Drone shot shows us, though, the advantage of Thomas Pompidou, head of Sebastian Kaupeng, and Simon Schrantz, who fended off an early challenge from Ethan Faramond for 3rd place. Got yellow flags down at turn 10 at the moment. See just who that is, and that's that's big trouble for the 83 car. Now what has happened there? Oh, it's involving the 81, and that's going to get hit. It does by the M Racing car. Big damage for the 83 of Charles Lambert, and it's going to be trouble too for Nathan Huet aboard the M Racing car. So spun around with a brush with another of the JS2 Rs. That rather substantial chunk of bodywork will require removal from the circuit, so it'll be removed from the car, of course. Meanwhile, the number 83 makes it back to pit lane. That car is not going any further.
I can't see that, to be honest. Yeah, big incident for the 83 car. Spun across the nose of a fellow runner down into turn number 10, and the sorry state. I mean, it's interesting from a technical point of view to know what's under the skin of a JS2R, but that is not how it left the Ligier factory, sadly. And yeah, a lot of work now required by the team to get that car ready for the next round at Le Castellet, which is only in a matter of weeks' time.
Yeah, I can't believe that the M Racing car is in much better order. We've not seen a picture of that since the hit, but that was nose-to-nose hit. Once the spin had happened, pretty helpless there. Not a lot he could do. So Charles Lambert pads to the back of the garage, unhappy with his labours. There is the piece of bodywork. Not on the racing line. Not sure they'll allow that to stay. The safety car is out, by the way.
I think the worry will be if another car outbrakes itself, then it could easily pick that up and do damage and bring it back onto the track as well.
There is the damage to the 68 car. Nowhere near as bad.
No, indeed, for Nathan Huet. But Nathan Huet was no stranger to a bit of action in his stint in the earlier race as well, when he had that spin. That was coming out of turn 4. Yeah. The consoling arm from Benoit Trellier, though, around the outgoing driver. He knows all about the positives and negatives that motorsport can deliver, often on the same day.
Indeed, you know, we see again here, that was the 83 car, 81 up the inside and impacting to the middle of the car before, well, we saw that, I don't think there's a lot that Nathan Huet could do about that. The 81 car was the other car involved in that. It will be interesting to see whether or not race control and the stewards see anything that needs to be further discussed by that. That's almost good enough to be taken back to the team.
Yeah, getting a great reaction from a huge grandstand that was just out of frame of our camera there, but the fans have been pouring in very early on this morning as we made our way over to our commentary position just on the outside of the circuit at, what, 8:30 this morning, and they were already starting to flood through the tunnel and head for the paddock area, the infield. There is the grandstand, which offers a great look over turn 10, but then beyond that, 12, 13, you can see a lot of corners, all from the same position.
Worth saying, by the way, we saw this last year. We were very pleasantly surprised by the numbers of people attending here last year. Johnny Palmer, we're situated on the outside of the circuit, and there were times where it was difficult to get through the spectator tunnel in the opposite direction, and the Spanish crowd has turned out again for this European Le Mans Series package. If you're anywhere close, or even if you're not, you have the opportunity to get here, please do come along. It's a great weekend of racing. We've got the Ligier European Series, Michelin Le Mans Cup, the ELMS itself, of course, and pretty much everywhere there is another supporting series or even two. And what's a packed weekend, and you will be very welcome indeed.
The safety car is going to retreat at the end of this lap. So again, a very quick bit of recovery of that loose debris. Of course, the car that caused it made its way back to the pits anyway under its own steam, just about. That might have been its last breath, actually, car number 83. But Charles Lambert did a very good job in recovering that Trajectus Motorsport car and doing a good job in respect of the marshals as well to save them from towing that car to safety. There goes the safety car then to the safe side of the concrete walls into pit lane, and we're back to racing conditions for Thomas Pompidou for Trajectus Motorsport. So one of their cars is out of the race, the other one though leads the JS P4 category, and in respect of the other Trajectus GT derived car, that is number 84, driven at the moment by Jack Tabbery, and that's still very much a going concern in 6th place in its division. Two Virage cars though tightly bunched with Sebastian Kopeng and Simon Schranz nose to tail. Schranz of Austria, and he had the job of recovering a car that had been half spun by his teammate in the earlier affair, but actually they managed to stay on the lead lap throughout that earlier race. Came home with a decent result, toying with a podium in the early stages though, Simon Schranz.
Scott Marsh here in defensive mode against the gaggle of cars behind him in the Petrogold number 33 car, running 6th at the moment. That's allowing the sister car, the 93, to just get away a little, very much in contact with the lead group, led of course by Thomas Pompidou of Trajectus Motorsport, from Sebastian Kopeng and Simon Schranz in the two Team Virage cars, or two of the three Team Virage cars, charging hard. And indeed the 93 car taking a good look up the inside here with the 6. Can he make that stick? Not there, but he's looking to see what he can do about claiming 4th place, getting in the mix for the podium fight to come.
Yeah, so many of the cars in the top 10 just trying to keep their powder dry and get into a bit of a rhythm here, but that is tough to do when you are caught in traffic. And I don't mean traffic as in lapped traffic, this is just the sheer weight of traffic, if you like, for the first few laps. Ahead of them, behind them, then the slight gap back to VSF Sports' Daniel Dalekian, who leads Marcus Terkelsen, who is a talent this year. We've got to be keeping our eyes peeled for him as a potential champion. Round the outside for Petrogold, number 93. That's a great opportunist manoeuvre from Andre Junior in the number 93 car. Just shows you can go two abreast there comfortably, cleanly, and that will give the 93 car 3rd position?
Fourth position. 4th position, but he's been sniffing around that for a lap or so. Now can he close the gap to the Virage car, and cars indeed ahead side by side as well between the 69 and the 7. That's Daniel Kostapola in trouble on the formation lap, of course, and that 69 car goes through and is in 8th position now.
Nip and tuck again as Riccitelli wants the inside line on Kostapola and will get it. So Riccitelli manages to break the stranglehold of the Czech racer on what was 8th place. Riccitelli qualifying in Q1 as high as, I think it was 3rd, so most unusual to see the number 7 car so far back. And Riccitelli being given the job to recover some of those spots. Cindy Gouda, there's contact though this time for the number 9, and that is Artur Egeta.
Well, there's contact between all 3 of those cars. Cindy Gouda taking a bit of a nerve from the rear as the other 2 cars in that group came into side-by-side contact. Under investigation, meanwhile, that incident involved the 83 and the 81.
They did manage to all ride the storm somehow, though, and still pointing in the right direction. As back across the start-finish line goes the race leader, Thomas Pompidou, building a gap slowly. He was 0.3 of a second faster than Sebastian Kopeng. This was 4 into 1, not quite going. Was there a nibble on the rear of Cindy Gouda's car as well, the 57, yeah. So just a little bit too hot down the inside there for Nick Ellis.
That's the lead. The lead goes in JS2 R, back in the way of Marcus Terkelson. And clean, neat and tidy pass on the 41 car of Daniel Delakian. VSF Sports back down to 2nd. And 23 events go to the lead of this race. Let's watch it again. Going down into the braking area, goes early, looking to grab the apex, and it's then a matter of who can get on the brakes the later. And the number 88 car, young Dane, feels like a portent of things to come for this season. He's a talent, that boy. Further down the order in JS2R. 29 car from Pegasus Racing, the hands of Jordan Meyer, with the 2nd VSF car. This Anthony Gibardo's 18 car, that's the battle for 4th. 41, by the way, not given up this fight. This could be quite an engaging one for the remainder of this session. And remember, as a solo driver, leader here, got to serve, is it 5 seconds more?
5 seconds more, so a minute and 50 for the one driver lineups, of which there are very few for this opening round in 2026. You can do it as quickly as a minute and 45 for those 2 driver lineups, though.
Also, by the way, 3rd place car in JS2R, the 81 car, judged at fault for that incident that saw the spin for the 83, which caused the later contact with the M Racing car. It will be a drive-through penalty for the 81, sitting in 3rd, will lose that position.
Okay. Very good opening sector for Riccitelli on the last lap completed. Generally the pace is increasing for so many cars in the top 10, although Thomas Pompidou, that was a slower lap on lap 6 for the number 19 Trajectus Motorsport car. He is opening the gap up though to Sebastian Kopeng. The 3rd of the virage cars needing to be that point of the track, i.e. right down the middle, because it was trying to pull a move on Scott Marsh.
And did it.
Yeah, so 99 now up to 6th place. That's Arno Malizia. So Malizia and Marsh, that might well continue for the next few laps, but they're going to have Riccitelli for company in the not too distant future. Car number 7, rampant in this opening stint.
Lots of interesting strategy at this point. Still not yet into a situation where for pretty much any of the major places in either class things have yet settled down. Still the 29 car sitting in 4th place in JS2R. That will become 3rd place when Simone Bianco pits the car for the drive-through. Fighting off, with now becoming a bit of a gaggle of cars behind, including is that the Trajectus and the VSF car? Sorry, not the VSF car, it's the Trajectus and the LR Motorsport car.
So that's for 6th and 7th, 84 and number 3, with Jose Moreros and Veloso Motorsport not that far away either. 81 to the pit lane for Jordan Meyer, for Simone Bianco, I should say, for the drive-through, yeah. So that gets that out of the way as early as possible and gives a fair bit of the race still to try and recover that situation. Pegasus to the inside line of the VSF car. Pegasus in number 29. That's Jordan Meyer and Anthony Gibodo.
Yeah, Jordan Meyer at the moment doing a great job of fending off the 18 car, but now under pressure as well from the 84. Jack Tabaret closing in, and this is going to be busy moments for Jordan Meyer. The 84 car looking to put a move onto the VSF car, won't do it there, but looks to have the quicker car underneath him. Be aware that the very similar front end liveries to the Trajectus and the LR cars in this class. There's another move underway here. 33 and 69 in close contention.
They're heading for turn 13, and down the inside goes Scott Marsh. So he will get the place. Marsh fighting with
Scott Chipola.
Oh, Scott Chipola, yeah, okay. 69.
He'd lost a bit of ground there, the 33 car, the 7 of Simone Riccitelli well ahead now.
And Riccitelli sighting the crosshair now on Arno Malizia.
Still this
gaggle of 4 cars, they're inseparable right now. Not for the race lead, but for 3rd, 4th, 5th and 6th. Marcus Terkelsen in the 23 events racing car is building a gap slowly and surely. He's opened up another 10th on Daniel Dalakian for VSF on that lap alone, but both have actually checked out from Jordan Meyer and the rest, as he is in 3rd position for Pegasus Racing, but under stern pressure, because Gibodo had a mightily impressive stint earlier on today when he was fighting with Terkelsen.
Oh, there around the outside. Can he do it there? I think he's managed to grab it. That's a great move. Great move to take the position. Has he managed? Oh, still, no.
Didn't think it was done.
And it really wasn't, was it?
That was the concern, is that, were they still going to be level pegging? The tyre's off the rim now.
I don't think is it just the tyre? I think it's the wheel. I think that may well have done some terminal suspension damage to that car.
Well, I mean,
it was a great move in the first part here, although a little bit of a brush between the two, and maybe that's what caused...
Well, they're giving each other racing room, but then there's this point here where I didn't know whether the 18 pulled across the bows. I'm not sure the Pegasus car was given sufficient racing room, because the problem for the 18 car of Gibodo is that he hadn't actually cleared Jordan Meyer as he turned in. So you still have to respect the want of the car on your inside to take the racing line, even though he wanted to complete the overtake before it was necessarily done.
Meantime, by the way, big battle between the 93, the 6, and now the 99 getting involved in that. This is for 4th place. There is the 18. Trying to work out whether or not that was just the tyre or whether it was the whole wheel.
Oh, it was the tyre initially that departed from the wheel, but I'm not denying the fact that there may be some integral damage inside as well to the drivetrain, potentially. It could very easily have damaged a drive shaft. The drive shaft are incredibly strong things, but to be rotated, if they start to get shunted into a car by another, then that is where things can go bank. And the safety car is back out again because of that stranded car at turn 4, inside of turn 4. Pompidou leading, and he'll be thinking, I had a 2-second lead here, and it's all of a sudden going to evaporate. Still 9 minutes away from the pit stop window commencing, so you're not allowed to pit before the 27 minutes into the race affair. I mean, you can pit, but it's not judged as a legitimate pit. This is the 50 car of Jeremy Loisel. Now, he'd not got a penalty, had he?
No.
But this is for the car to be serviced by the team, but it cannot count as his mandatory stop. It's been done so sedately, I fear that actually this might be the end of the race anyway for Jeremy Loisel.
Also in, by the way, Pegasus Racing's 29, Jordan Meyer. Now that will unplug the bottle. Why is that car coming? Oh, because of course there was the clash, and that didn't seem I think that may have broken the steering arm. That does not look good.
There's just way too much play in that wheel. Yes, it should be able to enable you to steer the car, but it's more loose-fitting than it was.
This is why.
So there was contact here, but that's kind of GT racing to an extent. If it folds the mirrors in, then fair enough. But here was the point where Guibaudot probably thought he was clear of Meyer's car.
And just wasn't.
And then he wasn't. It's going to be looked at, and it's not really for us to call whether there was a fault there at all. But for me, that was avoidable if they just kept in their lane and continued around and maybe then sorted out who was going to be in front at turn 4.
I wonder if just blood was rushing a bit after the minor brush into turn 1, and then there was not racing room given by either, was there? So the net result of it, both cars were out of the race.
Yeah, a real shame that, because we had a cracking turnout of JS2 Rs here this weekend, and it will deny 2 other drivers the chance to take charge of those cars at the half distance marker. So in race 2 at Barcelona, we're not going to see the return to the number 29 car of Kasparas Vingilis, the Lithuanian racer. And yeah, the cross indicated there by the mechanic to say that is it for car 29, abandonné.
Okay, this is the 18 being recovered to the infield. Very clearly that car is going no further.
So no appearance in this race for Maxime Aparicio, which is a real shame. Another one of the Pro-Am runners. There are actually 3 Pro-Am runners in JS2R this year. The single AM entry for David Cosenel and Alan Meyer. I say this year, there's always the scope, of course, for that to be improved, increased upon, moving forward into the next few rounds.
Never good when the hammer's being used.
Oh, I don't know. Sledgehammer, tie wraps, bit of the old sticky tape. But yes, you're not going to win races that way. Some ingenuity being shown by the mechanics, for sure. And that might stand them in good stead when they have to repair cars later on in their careers. Higher up the ACO rules ladder, perhaps. Inside 40 minutes to go, but still we have 6.5 minutes or so still, 5.5 minutes to go until the pit stop window will open. So all of these pit stops that we are observing, commenting on, are being done outside of the mandatory time, which is a 7-minute window, 27 minutes to 34 minutes, where you have to have pitted. And if you have got 2 drivers, switched your drivers over, don't need to worry about refueling or changing tyres, because the fuel tank is sufficient enough to get these cars through the hour on one fill at the start of the race. Pompidou from Kaupeng, they were very close to one another in the earlier race. In the latter stint, this is a slightly different dynamic now to have them leading in the opening 20 to 25 minutes. And the advantage that Pompidou was showing has now been entirely eliminated. Safety cars are generally good news for everybody apart from the race leaders, and in both categories, because Marcus Terkelsen, who was building himself a nice lead as well, over, I think, an improved Daniel Dalekian. He's found a bit of speed between the two races. Dalekian for VSF Sports was suffering a little bit. I mean, that might have been a tired car, 45, 50 minutes into a race. Now, though, the team at VSF have got to grips again with that car, giving it a fresh set of tyres. And Dalekian, finding a second wind today here at Barcelona.
The shot of the JS2R, new form for this car this year, new engine for this car this year, with the 3.7 litre V6 Ford now out of production. It's 3.5 litre, no downturn in terms of the power available, but all sorts of things happening in Ligier land, one of which is an upgraded version of this car, 650 horsepower as a GT2 car for this year. And also, my good mate and fellow WCTV broadcaster, Bruce Shuani, will be campaigning a JS2R in the Pikes Peak Hill Climb later this year.
Is that right?
Yeah.
I had no idea about that.
Absolutely.
Wow, okay. Well, that'll be something to keep our eyes out for. Any idea when that's happening?
Just looking to see here. Says he was 47 years old. He's outrageously good looking. 21st of June, the week after Le Mans.
Okay, right.
So just after he's spent all night up on a pit lane, up he goes.
Restart, and what's happening here? They're level pegging. Has there been a change? When's the change happening? Kaupeng timed as being ahead of Thomas Pompidou. You're not allowed to overtake before the control line, so that is a big concern for me. In fact, Simon Strantz called as the race leader through the next split. Well, indeed he is, because he's the virage car that goes into turn one. But when was all that overtaking happening? Now, those virage drivers that overtook will argue, well, Pompidou was very, very slow to pick up the pace, but it's all changed here. Now, there's an element here of Pompidou being given a place back again, as now to the high side goes Ethan Faramond in the number 6 car, the white, red and black of ANS Motorsport, and car number 6 might have an opportunity to slither his way up the inside of the trajector's car of Pompidou. But at the restart, the safety car coming in, Pompidou not leading at the line, and that is surely going to draw the attention of the race director.
Yeah, I think that's what we want to take another look at, isn't it? Clearly got a good run, but too good a run from the Team Virage car, but both of them going by the 19. The field under the control of the race leader at that point.
Yeah. Yeah, safety car retires to the pit lane, and then the restart speed is dictated by the race leader, but you're not allowed to, even if you get a really good run, you're not allowed to have your nose ahead. You're not even allowed to be overlapping, in fact, at the line. So that, I'm sure, will be investigated at the very least. What it has done in real terms is give Simon Strantz, who actually wasn't leading across the control line at the restart, he's got the better of the start of all three.
Watch this.
So did Pompidou run out a touch wide? Maybe he did. There's the control line, though.
He's already ahead.
And that was Kaupeng, wasn't it, who was ahead? Simon Strantz tucked in behind. A half moment there for number 3, running in 5th position for Noah Rosser.
All very strange.
And it's going to take some sorting out, is the problem as well, and whether all of this can be done within the race, because bear in mind we're now 45 seconds or so away from the pit stop window opening in race 2 of Heat 1 here in Barcelona.
Remember, against this, the man with the disadvantage to take into account, which is the car with the solo driver in JS P4.
JS P4 is Jeremy Loisel.
My apologies, no. So we're going to have Thomas Pompidou coming down pit lane from 2nd at best at this stage. Kaupeng drops back to 4th. There's another, it was a good restart there from Ethan Faramond. Briefly challenged for 2nd place.
Through the very fast right-hander at turn 9, past the motorcycle chicane. Clearly not in use this weekend.
Well, very possibly, Simon Strantz in the 14 car has drawn a massive advantage.
Yeah.
Not been the man that caused the problem in the first place. Car's 29.18, by the way, instant noted, causing a collision. That is the 2 cars that are out of the race.
If it was only Kaupeng who was effectively out of position at the restart, well, he has given the place back again to Pompidou, and a bit more, because Faramond's got ahead of him as well.
And where has that car?
Motorsport.
And we've got Gagler JS P4s on pit lane now.
Yeah.
The first of those is going to be Thomas Pompidou.
So I'm sure those in race control are now checking back to see precisely where Simon Strantz was, but I'm pretty sure he was behind Pompidou at the restart.
Unless we miscalled which Ligier, which Virage car was ahead.
No. Because there was a point at the restart. I distinctly remember that the other Virage car was out front.
This is a problem for the 99 car, out of position at the pit stop. Hope that that's not going to cause them too much of a problem.
Well, it's up on the dolly jack, so they can move it into position afterwards. And remember that as long as you don't breach the time of 1 minute 45 seconds for 2 driver lineups, 1 minute 50 seconds for the solo drivers, then it's not about the time that the car is stationary in front of the garage. It is from point to point, pit in to pit out.
Tyre going on, was that? on the 19 car.
Okay, well, there's nothing to say that you can't change tyres. It's just that I think you don't have to change tyres as per the regulations.
Certainly saw Will Gunn on the front right of the number 19 car.
Now sweeping around the outside of the Petrogold number 93. This is for third place in fact. Andre Dugna under pressure from Simone Riccitelli. Down the inside at turn 12 now, and will get the place and actually open the door for Dan Scotchapole as well. So the Czechia driver getting through in one fell swoop there.
So the 7th up to 4th right now. Was that 3rd at that stage before pitting immediately?
It would have been 4th ahead of Dugna, who dropped to 5th.
Meantime, JS2R was still waiting for the leading group to pit.
So staying out is Simon Schranz, leading Ethan Faramond now in car number 6. The 19 car has actually rejoined in exactly what would be second place according to our track map, but it's a lap down because it has stopped, whereas the 14 car that leads the race has not. So we need to not get confused about that as well. So you can sort of discount car 19 until everybody around it has also pitted. Second place on the road is Ethan Faramond for ANS Motorsport. And then it's the LR Motorsport car of Simone Riccitelli, also choosing not to pit at this point. 2 Petrogold cars. That's another example of one being on the lead lap, one being a lap back, because Jan Olive has just taken over the 33 car. Having done the pit stop, it's delivered him back onto the circuit, exactly a full lap behind.
So 10 cars still to pit in this race. We have 29 minutes to go. Simon Schranz leads the race, the number 14 car, after that somewhat bizarre restarts after a safety car period that saw the team car. No signage yet that that's under investigation.
Just also spotted that the Trajectus car, the other Trajectus car, has made its stop.
The 20 car.
Yes.
So that's Nick Ellis bringing the car in. A quiet race for them, and that's a car that was out of sorts earlier on. Engine problem. In comes the leader. Simon Schranz, joined on pit lane by, I suspect, the whole remaining field.
So that is the 19-year-old Manxman Nick Ellis getting out.
Yep.
Now based in Cambridge these days, racing, as we've established, for the Benoit Treluet team as well. But this is a significant step up for Nick in 2026.
We saw him in JS2 R, I believe we did, with Trajectus at Portimao.
Okay, so just dipping the toe in the water. And yeah, now in a JS P4 category car. So had a chance of finishing a race earlier this morning, now starting a race this afternoon. 3 cars buzzing around one another, and again, Petrogold's Jan Olive not on the lead lap. Same goes for Gabriel Doyle-Parfait, but good to see that the 20 crew have ironed out those mechanical dramas that saw Gabriel earlier today drive through 2 corners and then immediately into retirement. But an off-track moment there for Olive will surely give the place to Trajectors and the number 20 car, and 57's going to creep through as well. So the 57 car now in the hands of August Turbo was ready to pounce and tries to close the door to prevent the 33 from fighting back. That was a little bit rude from August Turbo, who now finds an open door ahead of him to pile his way down the inside of Doyle-Parfait.
Just about cleared it, or has he? No, he has not. He had a bit of a squirrely moment after the earlier moment for the 33, but still had enough momentum to briefly pass the 20.
So yeah, untidy initially from Jan Duran Olive as he came out of turn 7. There's a big sausage curb there, thankfully in the direction that you're travelling rather than whacking a sleeping policeman. But nevertheless, when you drive over it, it must be a couple of inches high, and that really did unsettle the 33 car. Opened the door for the 2 in behind, car 20 and car 57. But then there was side-to-side contact, which seemed a little bit needless, to be honest. August Turbo and the 33 Olive recovering, tripping over one another, and that's left some damage on the rear right of the M Racing car.
Are we out of the pit window yet?
Not quite. We've got another 30 seconds. It runs to 34.
We've got a bit of a problem for what is at the moment the overall race leader. In fact, they make it just in time.
Yeah.
The 84 car. 57 passes 20. Now there's the Petrogol car alongside, and indeed both those cars make it way by the Trajector's car.
There is a particularly short stop, though, I'm afraid to say, for the number 9 ANS Motorsport car, doing a 1 minute 39 second lap when you've got to be 1:45 at the shortest.
That's going to be costly.
So that will be at least 6 further seconds to serve, plus you've got to drive down pit lane as well. That's the most likely outcome. They are a 2-driver lineup, so they could have done it 1 minute 45, but certainly not as quickly as they did. A lot of tyre smoke down at turn 10. One car out braking itself in an attempt to overtake another. I didn't quite grab the numbers.
This is the 1 and the 6. This is the battle for what will become third place, with the pit stop for the JS2R that briefly led the race overall. The 84 car. Race lead for Team Virage's number 14 on the hands of Alex Gardner. Vincent Boutellier sits second. It will become the number 1 Team Virage car up in third place with Brandon McCoggan, who was very quick indeed in race 1. He's been chased by Mika Abrams in that ANS Motorsport number 6 car. Those 2 cars have exchanged positions fairly recently. Again, this is the number 9 car back ahead of the 57.
Wow, in the marbles though, there's not a great deal of grip out there, and the Petrogol car is taking the more sensible racing line and finding pace hand over fist into turn 4 on the inside line. Olive will arrive with August Turbo. Turbo's body panels on his 57 car are getting pretty second-hand by this point, so not for the first time 33 and 57 at loggerheads.
Yeah, they've been absolutely hammering nails together here. Number 9 car, by the way, has caught and passed this group of 3. 20 to 57.
Slow out of that corner though, so that's providing a bit of a moving chicane for the Olive and Turbo battle, as car 9 runs a tad wide coming out of turn 9. Adrien Bastide, who was rotating earlier this morning in the opening race. Olive back ahead, staying ahead of August Turbo, who still hasn't given this one up though. Coming out of turn 10 through the kink at 11 and into 12, the more meaningful corner. Turbo trying every trick in the book here to get ahead of Olive. This again will be 2 very evenly matched drivers potentially for the full season long. Then there's a gap back to Bastide, who's embroiled in his own arm wrestle with Gabriel Doyle-Parfait in the Trajector's Motorsport car.
Still, this battle goes on between the Petrogol and racing cars. I can tell you, by the way, the lead gap with 23 minutes to go between Alex Gardner and the pursuing Vincent Boutellier is down from 3.2 seconds to 2 seconds dead. And that's a change again.
Turbo still can't get in front of Olive, but he's trying his level best. So he drew level in turn 1. There's another change. Doyle-Parfait to the inside line of Bastide to put Trajectus ahead of ANS Motorsport. By the way, the Tabaret, is that father and son duo in Trajectus Motorsport car as well? I'm pretty sure it is, car number 84. Jack Tabaret was leading overall in the JS2R category because he left his pit stop so late. Jack getting out, Martin getting in. And Jack the silver, Martin the bronze on a, yes, and the latest entry list would tally with that as well. So Martin still finds himself in second position in JS2R. So that latish pit stop looks to be working for the time being.
57 now well ahead of the 33, but that chase not given up. We're 22 minutes to go now. 93 car for Petrogol not that far ahead. Car 1 under investigation, safety car procedure. That will be that pass, I'm sure, over the line.
Now August Turbo is very definitely ahead of Jean Olive, and that is for 7th position. Olive will have to be wary on the whereabouts of Gabriel Doyle-Parfait now for Trajectors. Will be getting larger in the mirrors. In splendid isolation, meanwhile, Antonin Bernard in car 41, the leader in JS2R. Daniel Dalican has given him a terrific platform to build on, and assuming he'll be praying now there's no further cautions, no further safety cars, because he has a 10.5-second lead over Martin Tabaret and the rest.
Yeah, so Marcus de Kilson, a 2:06 on pit lane. Now, he's a solo driver, so he gets a pit penalty. It's not that big a pit penalty.
No.
So there was clearly a problem on pit lane for the young Dane. He is down now in 4th place, and what gap? 2.4 seconds to catch. He did put on the style at the end of the first race earlier today, closing the gap on the podium position cars at that stage, catching and passing all of them. This still isn't done though, is it, between the 57 and 33?
It's really excellent stuff, because August Turbo proved last year that he's one of the quickest drivers in a JS P4, but arriving kind of as an unknown entity into the Ligier European Series is Jan Duran Olive.
Meantime, for the leader has been caught by Vincent Boutellier, under a second now. So after the pit stops, over 3 seconds the gap. That's what it is. It's visual. 0.7 of a second through the last timing sector. Under 20 minutes to go. Car 1 has got 10 seconds added to the next pit stop, plus a penalty point safety car procedure. So that will be 10 seconds added. There will be no further pit stops required here.
Yeah.
So we'd have to add 10 seconds to the current race time. That will drop him 2 more positions.
Brandon McCullough in the number 1 car, just heading down towards the first corner now. Here's the fight for 4th and 5th behind Brandon for Mika Abrahams of South Africa and Pietro Ferri in his LR Motorsport car. So ANS up against LR, France versus Italy. And then Christian Garduño for Petrogold and the Spanish outfit, car number 93. I just wonder, in the case of Jan Duran Olive, a bit of specific track knowledge is creeping in. Certainly Petrogold will know how to set up a car for this Barcelona circuit, and Olive, not sure which part of Spain he's based in, but I'm sure he will have raced many times here in his past. So putting that to good use and pressurising August Turbo in car number 57 for 7th and 8th places. Still not much real estate between those two cars, just slightly more than half a second. Gabriel Doyle-Parfait is a bit further back now, 2 and a bit seconds adrift. As here is Marcus Terkilson in the 88, 3rd position for 23 events.
Yep, so he's caught and passed the 3rd place man, and now trying to catch Simone Bianco. It's what is that? So 1.2 seconds ahead. This is how that place went.
Terkilson just taking a watching brief, really, making sure that it all went to plan ahead of him, because could have been cars spearing left, right and centre.
Well, that was the 81 passing the 84 for second, but that allowed the 88 to catch both.
Yeah, OK. And Tabaret, since then, has slipped back to 4th position. So it was Jack Tabaret who got the car up there in the mixture and actually allowed it to lead all of the JS P4s as well, because it was the last car to stop. Here are the 2 Petrogold cars that are going to go side by side, and the yellow door mirrored 33 now going ahead. So Jan Olive now in front of Garduño. Well, that was actually the order, yeah, across the line, but of course Olive had been ahead anyway, so Garduño's coming back with a sort of second wind a little bit here. Drew level with Olive down the main straight. The 93 car, though, back now to 8th position.
Look at here, this is the 14, way wide at the back there. That is the 4th place car. That's changed now. It is a change, because up into 4th, because of the 6 car running wide with Mika Abrahams, Pietro Ferri in the LR Motorsport car makes that move.
So yeah, Abrahams only briefly off the track, but into the gravel, lost all his momentum coming out of turn 14. And that was all it took for Pietro Ferri, Simone Riccitelli's teammate for this year, to get back in front. And Terkilson's gained another position, Graham's indicating to me, because he's now ahead of Simone Bianco.
He is indeed. A long gap now to Antonin Bernard in the VSF sports car, the 41 car, 12 seconds, 16 minutes to go. But up to second place for the mercurial Marcus Turkelson.
Well, bear in mind he lost 11 seconds in the... No, it was longer than that. It would have been 16 seconds. Yes, in the pit stop. And now there's a problem for the second place car of Vincent Boutellier being squeezed, I think, by Alex Gardner. I didn't quite catch all of that, trying to do the mathematics in my head to work out how much Marcus had lost in his pit stop in JS2R, but that was a car going up the curb, and I think half being forced in that direction by Alex Gardner. Here it is again. Boutellier with a very good run on the race leader, the Australian racer Alex Gardner. And actually, no, just lost it on his own.
He did, lost it. He was looking, see whether or not the gap might open up. And I think he just got too deep into the corner. Perhaps lost a little bit of aero coming into that side of things, and around he went. Now, where's that left him? And the answer is he's down in 5th. Mathieu Bonadel there, head of the Michelin Motorsport programme in the background.
Just asking way too much of the tyres and the brakes at this late stage of the race. We've had 45 minutes of the race, and Boutellier arriving, well, even if he'd been on his own, I'm not sure he would have made the corner, frankly, but he was attempting to overtake Alex Gardner. Got probably a very good run in Alex's toe, and then hit that brake pedal just a tad too late. So Benoît Treluet not particularly happy. He's already seen one of his cars retired in Charles Lambert after a significant hit on the nose after Lambert's car had spun, subsequently from contact. And now the second drama for Trajectus' JS P4 car this time. Boutellier rejoining in 5th position. So right ahead of August Turbo and Jan Olive, out of the frying pan into the fire there.
You ask him at Jan Olive, by the way, in his racing background. Only a year out of karting.
Yeah.
Spent last season in the GT4 European Series, finishing second in the Silver Cup and a Toyota Supra. But yeah, that was a mistake, I'm afraid, of the meaningful variety from the Trajectus Motorsports driver. 14 minutes to go. How is that lead battle going in JS2R? Remember, it was 13 seconds. It's down to 11.3. Now, that's not quite on schedule to catch Antonin Bernard, but it's pretty clear that Terkelsen is on the charge. A second quicker last time around. That's one to keep an eye on as to how close he can get by the end of this race. So it's Alex Gardner leads now a Virage 1-2 ahead of Brendan McLaughlin. Those two separated by 1.4 seconds, with Pietro Ferri probably quite surprised to be up into 3rd at this point. He's 4 seconds off the lead. Mika Abrahams and then Vincent Boutellier. Boutellier is, what is that, 3.2 seconds away from 4th place. Car 33 and 93, Olive and Gardeno, warning flags and track limits, not the only ones. We're getting into that realm where if it stays this fruity, there's going to be penalties handed out.
Christian Gardeno also very early on in his racing career, although he's done some events, I think, in single-seaters. Let's just check that. Santilot Racing, yeah, in the past have run single-seater campaigns, and that has been in Spain itself, so effectively the Spanish version of F4 racing. Jerez and Navarra together with Portimao as well, so it does have some Portimao experience as we look much later on in the season. Gardeno battling with Olive in the Petra Gold cars, 7th and 8th places. Meanwhile, here are the two Virage machines.
And in traffic.
Yes.
So this is going to add another layer to this. It's the 93 and the 33. Gardeno and Olive in that same order, sitting in 7th and 8th places. It's a gaggle of traffic still to contend with for the leading pair of Virage cars. There is the change.
Looking a little bit skittish on the brakes there, but it was well controlled by Gardeno, and through he goes into 7th position.
Still that 20 car keeping them honest in the back of the shot there. Another warning flag for track limits, this time to the number 94 car. There's David Cossonel.
Doyle Parfait to the inside of Olive and will pick him off very easily indeed. So Gabriel Doyle Parfait setting that one up way back at turn number 8. Jan Olive, has he pushed a bit too hard on this now fairly old set of tyres to not necessarily have the performance to fight back with? He had more pace only 10 minutes or so ago, but that does seem to be fading. Here are the leading Virage cars. Where's the third Virage car, you might ask? Well, that's down in 11th position, but Gardner and McCohen are nip and tuck in terms of lap times. 148.4, 148.5 for Gardner and McCohen respectively. Generally speaking, I think the Irishman's getting a bit closer to the Australian.
He is. He closed that gap through part of that traffic to 0.7 of a second, lost a bit as they cleared the car. You can see just behind that leading pair at the moment. It's now 1.1 seconds, the gap, 10 minutes to go. Vincent Boutellier, meanwhile, is making an impact on Mika Abrahams behind, but still 2 seconds back for fourth.
Two leaders rounding turn 4. Gap of 4 seconds back to Pietro Ferri, so he's not appearing in shot with these two race leaders. There he is, in fact, just going through turn 5 now. Mika Abrahams right on his tail. There's only half a second between Ferri and Abrahams, so the final podium position is far from decided. Vincent Boutellier a bit further back, however. Now the stop-and-go penalty of 6 seconds is dished out to Adrien Bastide, and that indeed is the car that only spent 1 minute and 39 seconds in pit lane when they did a very quick driver change, far too quick, and the car will have to come back in to serve that extra 6 seconds via a stop-and-go. 99, the third Team Virage car for Marius Christiansen, applying some pressure now to Jan Olive, and Perez Caballo, Luis Perez Caballo, briefly dropping behind Olive, but the 12 car's back in front again now. So Olive's pace has just disappeared entirely.
Yeah,
it's got to be tyres, that, I think.
It certainly looks as if he's struggling for grip at various parts of this circuit.
Yeah, unless there's a little niggle with the car, which is getting steadily worse, but I think perhaps pushing a bit too hard on the tyres at the start of his stint has now bitten him later.
That's what we just saw briefly for 6th place in JS2R between the Pegasus Racing car of David Cossonel, 94, and Pedro Moreiros in the Veloso Motorsport 35. Across the line pretty much neck and neck. McCocken still in the battle for this overall win, and in fact you were asking about Olive, he has pitted that car. I think he may have a pretty major problem.
Maybe it is more drivetrain related, but it was fairly obviously tyres for me at first, just because we know that car's been very, very fast. They're now going to be checking in the cockpit. There's no smoke appearing at the rear of that car, so no telltale signs. The engine restarts okay. They are checking 1 or 2 things on the dash. So unfortunately, with now just 7 and a bit minutes to go, that could well be him out of the race. Closing again, though, for the scrap at the front of the field. The 14 car with the yellow visor for Team Virage versus the chasing number 1 car. There's only now 3 car lengths in it.
Absolutely, and again, look at the background. It was traffic again that allowed the chasing number 1 car to close in. We've got a stop and go for the 3rd place car in JS2 R. That is pit stop infringement for the 81 LR Motorsport car of Simone Bianco. Well, that should see, will it see Martin Tabaré able to close? It will.
So that's a 1 second stop and go penalty. I don't think that is related though to the but is Bianco one of those solo drivers? He certainly is. So he needed to do a pit stop that was 1 minute and 50 seconds.
1:49.
And he's done a 1:49. Hence why Bianco is going to have to come back into the pits to serve that extra 1 second, but it is so much more damaging than just adding a second to the race time, because you've got to make a trip through the pits to do it.
Traffic coming again for the leaders, but I think that's going to be done already. It has.
Let him through.
He did. Then what was that all about?
I don't know. Now, whether Gardner's sort of being put off his stride a little bit because he's having to peer into the mirrors so much, whether there's been a quick radio message to say, Brandon is faster than you, and let's not fight it. Let's just switch the cars around and allow us still to finish 1 and 2, but for McLaughlin not to necessarily be slowed down, because there's always the risk, if one car is quite a bit faster than the other, there's always the risk of some contact, and in fact both being taken out of the race. McLaughlin up the inside of the 84 Trajectors car of Martin Tabaret, still hanging on to 4th position in JS2 R.
20 car meanwhile, trying to get onto terms with the quicker of the 2 Petrogol cars. And it's Gabriel Doyle Parfait trying to get in touch with Christian Gardino, and it is close enough to make that interesting. As his mirror is full though of the sister car, hands of Marius Christensen. 93, 20 and 99 pushing on. So for 7th place, but it's been a cracking little battle that.
Doyle Parfait in the 20, very much with the company of Marius Christensen, as you say, coming out of the final corner in the Virage car. Christensen getting a very good run this time on Doyle Parfait. He's going to be shown the outside line though. You can overtake around the outside of turn 1 if you judge it well, and in fact I think there was an element of Christensen backing out of that. Better opportunity perhaps at turn 3, where again they are 2 abreast. 99 is not quite fast enough though to fully commit at turns 1 and 3.
Latest cars to get a warning, final warning for track limits, so keep an eye on this 20 and 99 battle. Is the race leader and that chasing Trajectors Motorsport car that's half spun out of the battle for the lead. Still the 99 car trying every trick in the book here. Gets a better run there, Johnny.
Here we go, but again it's going to be the outside line though for car 99. Christensen might be able to do it if he can tuck back into line. Yes, and gets it completed as they come out at turn number 7. So that was good knowledge of his of the measurements of his car, if you like, for Christensen to know that he was clear. He could cut across the bows of Gabriel Doyle Parfait without the fear of any contact. This has given Christian Gardino a bit more breathing space. I was wary of how far in front the number 93 car was, but he must have tried this manoeuvre at probably 3 different corners, and eventually the pressure told on Gabriel Doyle Parfait.
Yeah, considered move, ultimately done very well indeed. Racing room given. Number 9 car on pit lane. Trouble there for ELMS Motorsports' Adrian Bastide. Car up on the jacks. So effectively race run in competitive form at least. Warning flag now for Mika Abrahams in 4th place. Vincent Boutellier, by the way, under 2 seconds back from Abrahams, but not making massive inroads there. 3 minutes to go.
Brandon McLaughlin, remember, getting ahead of Alex Gardner. In fact, there was a strong element of Alex just getting off the throttle between turns 4 and 5 and allowing that move to happen. And you can sort of see why now, because it was running the risk of holding Brandon up a bit too much, and it might well have delivered the number 1 car closer to Pietro Ferri than Team Virage were willing to see. So release the Irishman, and that has put him into a lead of nearly 2 seconds now over Alex Gardner. But Gardner's still got about the same margin back to Pietro Ferri, so there's no immediate risk of Alex losing 2nd place to Pietro Ferri, the car that he shares with Simone Riccitelli. Mika Abrahams on course for a 4th place finish ahead of Vincent Boutellier, the race 1 winner, the race 1 win that he shared with Thomas Pompidou.
We've got a mighty 110 second stop and go penalty for car 50. That is Jeremy Loisel's car. He had nearly 17 minutes on pit lane, and Johnny, you remember that car pitted very early out of the window, has not pitted since.
Yeah. Oh dear. Okay, well, we mentioned at the time that the car had come in far too early, but clearly the mechanical problems with the priority for Jeremy Loisel and Le Dusab's crew. But then if you don't pit within the 7-minute pit window, then you effectively have that whole pit stop to serve still. And at this late stage, surely it's going to be added to the race time anyway. We'll wait and see whether that car runs down pit lane again. But to be honest, it's not going to have 1 minute and 50 seconds left on the race clock anyway to serve that.
This is the final lap for race leader Brandon McCocken in this #1 Team Virage car, a team with excellent form in the Ligier European Series in recent years. Title winners. Is this the start of a title run again for Team Virage? Keen to understand that team orders move. Look at the background there, Pietro Ferri's not giving this up. 30 seconds to go before the end of this race. You know what, this is going to be tight for the finish. They have
16 seconds.
Time this as the final lap.
Yeah.
I think that's correct, but it's going to be tight.
Yeah. Well, Branner's not really in a position where he could just feather the throttle through turn 14 and ensure that this is the final lap. But with 3 seconds, 2 seconds, 1 second to go, he has yet to exit turn 14. So without question, he's about to see the checkered flag. Brandon McCocken taking the race win with his teammate Sebastian Kaupeng then. The Irish-Italian combination wins in the number... does it though? Hang on a minute. Was there a penalty there late on for car number 1? Because that's disappeared from the top of our screen, and Alex Gardner shown as the race winner. Does that explain why he allowed Brandon McCocken through then to say, well, you can have the place because actually I'm going to end up winning the race anyway, and it's not a 1-2 finish for Team Virage?
Was that because the 10-second penalty went to the #1 car? Was that the car that did the overtake at the restart? It's a 10-second penalty. Or is it? It's only 8 seconds back. Well, no, that's right. I think that's what it was.
Okay.
It's 10 seconds. That was the penalty.
Which we did mention at the time, but of course we've immediately forgotten that because we had pit stops after that. Yes, indeed.
So Alex Gardner does indeed take the win in the number 14 car.
And that now makes sense why Gardner didn't want to fight a penalised car anyway, because Brandon McCocken might as well be released. They knew that Alex knew he only had to stay within 10 seconds of that leading on the road car, and Brandon McCocken would have to take his medicine at the end anyway. Yes, so Sebastian Kaupeng at the restart was ahead. We commented it at the time, we mentioned the penalty, and then so much has happened since then.
We can please
instantly forget that bit. So apologies, folks.
No problem. It's Alex Gardner takes the win across the line, shares that car with Simon Schranz. The 14 Team Virage car take the win. LR Motorsport, one of the drives of the race here, by the way, from a lowly starting spot. It is Pietro Ferri that with Simone Riccitelli takes a second place finish. Mika Abrahams in the number 6 car for ANS Motorsports shares that car with Ethan Faramond. They take the final podium position, and then Vincent Bertellier not quite able to close the gap for a podium finish. VSF Sports, the 88-23 events car and the 84 from Trajectus Motorsport take the 1, 2, 3 in JS2 R, Johnny Palmer.
So there we go. The first heat of a brand new season, season 7 for 2026, is done and dusted in the Ligier European Series. And a terrific result for Team Virage. Not as good as it might have been, because of course they were running 1 and 2 on the road. But it is a victory for car number 14 for Alex Gardner and Simon Schranz. And in JS2R, the 41 crew, VSF Sports, taking the win.
Michelin. Bienvenue une autre fois. Il venait avant le premier podium de Michelin. Are you ready? Come on. Let's go. Welcome to circuit of Barcelona, Catalonia. This is the second podium today. It's the last competition in Catalonia. Ligier European Series, the first podium, JS P4 in third place, number 6, ELMS Motorsport, Ethan Paramon and Mika Brahms. Whoa! Okay, congratulations. In second place, number 7, LR Motorsport, Simone Riccitelli and Pietro Ferri from Italian. Bienvenidos, complimenti para los pilotos italianos, complimenti Riccitelli a Pietro Ferri, the second place, the winner, JS P4, number 14, Team Virage, Alex Garner, Simon Sarans, and the principal team. Okay. In honor of the winner, we will listen the national anthem of Poland. Okay, congratulations, national anthem from Poland. Give the trophy. Picture, photo, family photo, winners. Okay, JS P4, number 16, Ethan Paramon and Mika Brahms, the second place, number 7. Okay, champagne. Oh, champagne. Shower. Champagne spray. Okay. Whoa. Woo. This is your first shower. Congratulations, number 6 in third place. Ethan Paramon and Mika Brahms, the second place, number 7. Simone Riccitelli and Pietro Ferri, the winner. JS P4, number 14. Team Virage, Alex Garner and Simon Schlanz. Okay, congratulations, new bottles, new trophies. The winner the JS P4 Pro-Am, number 57 MR is August in the Gude. The number 57, a winner Pro-Am category. and Racing, August Herbo and City Goudet from Denmark and France. Okay, finish the JS P4, the new category JS2 R. After the change, the new bottles, the champagne and the trophies. Okay, are you ready? New podium JS2R. Okay, Interplace 84, Trajectus Motorsport, is Jack Taveri and Martin Taveri. Congratulations pour le pilote français. Bienvenue, félicitations. In the second place, number 88, 23 events racing, Marcus Telkufen. The winner of the first race, new leader after Barcelona, and the winner, number 41. Congratulations, Daniel Dalaquian, piloto español Daniel Dalaquian. Antoine Bernard, vámonos, ahí está, Dalaquian afincado en Valencia, bienvenido, enhorabuena. In honor of the winner, we will listen the national anthem of France. Félicitations pour l'équipe française. Pour l'équipe française. Et la photo. The winner number 41. Daniel Dalaquian, el piloto español con Antoine Bernard. Wow, champagne spray shower. Yepa. Ale, ale, ale. Enhorabuena también para este piloto español afincado en Valencia. Esta victoria grande, grande, grande para Daniel Dalaquian. Avec le français Antoine Bernard. La troisième position pour le Belgium. Jack and Martin Taveri, and the second place, number 88, Marcus Tergilsen. Tergilsen, the winner of the first race, second place and second race, leader after Barcelona. Más fotos. Ahí de recuerdo esas primeras posiciones, Ligier JS2 R, the next Podium Pro-Am category. Ok, vámonos con los vencedores del apartado Pro-Am JS2 R Pro-Am category. The winner, number 84, Trajectus Motorsport, Jack and Martin Taveri from Belgium. L'équipe française Trajectus Motorsport, le pilote belge Jack and Martin Taveri. Le winner avec le photo, avec le Michelin Bibendum. Barcelona Heat 2026, the first race Ligier European Series. Champagne, no champagne, no champagne. No champagne. Pour le mécanicien. The last podium, JS2 R AM category. Okay, so the winner, number 94, is the Team Pegasus Racing. David Cosanel and Alain Meyer. Okay, and the team principal, Pegasus, the winner in AM category. Venga, aprovechando aquí fotos, son los vencedores. Muchísimas gracias. Congratulations. It's the first race, the Ligier European Series Barcelona 2026. Congratulations, the winner. Whoa. Yeah. Foto. Fotos de recuerdo. Venga, muchísimas gracias. Este es el Podium. Es la única categoría que hace el Podium en medio del paddock. Esta área del Ligier European Series han sido dos carreras. La primera la hemos hecho a las 9 de la mañana. Esta segunda a las 2. Hemos terminado lo que sería este primer round. Round 1 Ligier European Series. Congratulations a los vencedores. Enhorabuena. I moltíssimes gràcies i benvinguts al circuit de Barcelona-Catalunya. Fins a la propera temporada, fins a aquest proper any. Segur que tornarà també amb European Le Mans Series. Congratulations, thank you very much.